There is a smell in your home right now that you have probably stopped noticing. It crept in so gradually, so slowly, over so many months and years that your nose adjusted to it and accepted it as normal. But your guests notice it the moment they walk through your front door. That faintly damp, slightly stale, unmistakably musty odor that no candle, no plug-in air freshener, no spray bottle of fabric deodorizer has ever actually eliminated. Only temporarily covered with a fragrance that fades within hours and leaves the musty smell waiting underneath exactly where it always was. And in your car it is even worse. That closed-up damp smell that hits you the moment you open the door on a warm morning. The smell that comes back within days of every air freshener you hang from the rearview mirror. The smell that makes you roll the windows down in winter because the alternative is sitting inside a car that smells like a basement. You have been spending money on products specifically engineered to not solve this problem. Every candle, every plug-in, every spray, every gel freshener, every car air freshener hanging from your mirror was designed to do one thing and one thing only. Cover the smell temporarily so that you run out of the product and need to buy another one within weeks. None of them were ever designed to eliminate the source of the smell, because eliminating the source of the smell is the one outcome that generates zero repeat purchase revenue for the companies selling them. There is a mixture you can make right now from 2 ingredients costing less than $1 combined that eliminates musty smell permanently, not by covering it with fragrance, but by chemically neutralizing the odor molecules at the source and killing the microbial colonies producing them. You apply it tonight, the musty smell is gone by morning. And because you have addressed the source rather than masked the symptom, it does not come back next week, next month, or next season. This mixture has been used as a natural deodorizer and odor eliminator since ancient Egypt. It was standard household knowledge across ancient Roman civilization, medieval European domestic tradition, and early American frontier homes for generations. It was the tool that practical self-reliant households used to keep their living spaces clean and fresh before an industry worth over $30 billion annually convinced an entire generation that eliminating household odor required branded products purchased on a recurring schedule. Welcome to the ancient prepper. If recovering practical forgotten knowledge that the modern world buried under billions of dollars of branded products is what brought you here, subscribe right now and ring that notification bell, because this channel exists for exactly one reason: to give back what was taken from you. To understand why this mixture works permanently where every commercial air freshener and odor eliminator fails consistently, you first need to understand what musty smell actually is and where it comes from at a chemical and biological level. This is the knowledge that the air freshener industry has spent billions of dollars making sure you never think too hard about, because the moment you understand what musty smell actually is, the entire air freshener product category becomes immediately and obviously irrelevant. Musty smell is not a surface condition, it is not dust, it is not simply stale air that can be refreshed by opening a window or spraying a fragrance. Musty smell is the direct biological output of living microbial colonies, mold, mildew, and bacteria that have established themselves inside the porous materials of your home and car. Carpet fibers, upholstery foam, drywall, wood subfloors, ceiling tiles, car seat padding, dashboard foam, door panel fabric, trunk lining. Every porous material in your living and driving environment is a potential habitat for microbial colonies that feed on organic material, moisture, and the microscopic debris that accumulates in any lived-in space over time. As these microbial colonies metabolize the organic material they feed on, they release gases called microbial volatile organic compounds, MVOCs, as biological waste products. These gases are what your nose detects as musty smell. The specific chemical compounds in these gases, things like geosmin, 2-methylisoborneol, and various aldehydes and ketones produced by different mold and bacterial species, are detectable by the human nose at concentrations as low as 5 parts per trillion. Your nose is extraordinarily sensitive to these specific compounds because human evolution developed that sensitivity as a survival mechanism. Musty smell historically indicated the presence of microbial contamination in food and water sources that could cause serious illness. The revulsion response that musty smell triggers is not an aesthetic preference. It is a deeply wired biological warning system. Commercial air fresheners address this biological warning signal by flooding your environment with fragrance molecules at concentrations high enough to temporarily overwhelm your nose's ability to detect the MVOC compounds underneath. The musty smell is not gone. The microbial colonies producing it are not gone. The MVOC gases are still being produced and released at exactly the same rate. You simply cannot smell them because your olfactory receptors are saturated with the fragrance compound instead. The moment the fragrance concentration drops below the threshold needed to mask the MVOCs, which happens within hours to days depending on the product, the musty smell returns at full strength. This is not a product failure. This is the product working exactly as designed. A product that permanently eliminated the source of the musty smell would eliminate the need for itself and every subsequent purchase. And the $30 billion air freshener and odor eliminator industry cannot afford customers who never need to buy another product. The mixture that actually works, permanently, completely, and for less than $1, attacks musty smell at the source through 2 completely different and complementary mechanisms that together address every dimension of the odor problem, simultaneously. The first ingredient is baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, a naturally occurring alkaline mineral compound that has been used as a deodorizer across human civilization for thousands of years. The second ingredient is white distilled vinegar, the same ancient compound whose history of practical household use stretches back over 5,000 years to Babylonian records, and whose acetic acid content makes it one of the most effective natural antimicrobial agents ever documented. Baking soda eliminates musty odor through a chemical neutralization mechanism that is fundamentally different from the masking approach of commercial air fresheners. Sodium bicarbonate is an alkaline compound with a pH of approximately 8.3. The majority of MVOC odor compounds produced by mold, mildew, and bacterial metabolic activity are acidic in their chemical nature. The geosmin, aldehydes, and ketone compounds that produce the characteristic musty smell are acidic molecules that react chemically with alkaline compounds. When baking soda is present in the environment where these acidic odor molecules exist, it reacts with them through a straightforward acid-base neutralization reaction, converting the odor molecules into neutral compounds that have no smell. The musty smell molecules are not covered. They are chemically destroyed. They no longer exist as smell-producing compounds because the neutralization reaction has changed their molecular structure into something the nose cannot detect as odor. This is why baking soda eliminates odor rather than masking it, and why the elimination is permanent rather than temporary. The odor molecules that were present when the baking soda was applied are gone and do not return. White vinegar addresses the other half of the musty smell problem, the living microbial colonies still inside the porous materials of your home and car that are continuously producing new MVOC gases to replace the ones the baking soda neutralizes. Acetic acid at the concentrations present in standard household white vinegar, typically 5%, is a proven broad-spectrum antimicrobial agent effective against the mold, mildew, and bacterial species most commonly responsible for household musty odor. Research published in microbiology literature has confirmed that 5% acetic acid solution achieves greater than 90% kill rate against common household mold species including Cladosporium, Penicillium, and Aspergillus, the three mold genera most frequently responsible for musty odor in residential environments. The acetic acid penetrates porous surface materials more effectively than bleach, reaching deeper into the substrate where mold root structures and bacterial colonies live, and kills them at the cellular level. When you apply white vinegar to the surfaces and materials where musty smell originates, you are not masking the odor. You are eliminating the biological factories producing it. Once the mold and bacterial colonies are killed by the acetic acid, they stop producing MVOC gases. The source of the smell is gone, and baking soda applied to the same areas simultaneously neutralizes the residual MVOC compounds already present in the air and absorbed into surrounding materials so that even the accumulated odor from weeks or months of microbial activity is chemically eliminated rather than simply covered. Together, baking soda and white vinegar attack musty odor from every angle simultaneously. The chemical odor molecules already present in the air, materials are neutralized by the baking soda, while the living microbial colonies producing new odor are killed by the acetic acid in the vinegar. The result is permanent odor elimination that no commercial product can match because no commercial product is designed to achieve it. Now let me take you back through the history of these two ingredients in household odor control and environmental hygiene, because the story of how ancient civilizations across thousands of years independently discovered and used both baking soda and vinegar for exactly this purpose is one of the most consistently overlooked chapters in the history of practical household knowledge. The history of sodium bicarbonate as a deodorizer begins with ancient Egypt, where natron, a naturally occurring mineral found in dry lake beds across the Egyptian desert that consists primarily of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate, was one of the most important and widely used mineral compounds in Egyptian civilization. Ancient Egyptians used natron for a remarkable range of household applications including food preservation, personal hygiene, cleaning, and critically for our purposes, deodorizing and purifying enclosed spaces. Egyptian records document the use of natron as a deodorizer in grain storage areas, domestic living quarters, and in the mummification process where its deodorizing and desiccating properties were essential to the preservation procedure. The ancient Egyptians understood empirically that this alkaline mineral eliminated rather than masked organic odors, and they used this property systematically across their domestic and ceremonial life for thousands of years. Ancient Roman households used a combination of mineral compounds and vinegar for domestic odor control and sanitation, with a thoroughness and systematic approach that reflects a sophisticated practical understanding of what caused environmental odor and what actually eliminated it. Roman domestic management guides, texts that described the proper management of a Roman household for the benefit of the Roman housewife, recommended vinegar washing of floors, walls, and storage areas as a standard sanitation and odor prevention practice. Roman bath culture used vinegar-based rinses as a standard component of the bathing process. Roman food storage practice involved vinegar treatment of storage vessels and storage areas as a combined preservation and odor control measure. The Romans understood that vinegar did something to biological sources of odor that water alone could not accomplish, and that understanding was transmitted through Roman domestic tradition across the breadth of the empire for centuries. Medieval European monastery records document both baking soda mineral compounds and vinegar as standard components of the domestic management and sanitation practices maintained in monastic communities across France, England, Germany, and Italy. Monasteries were among the most sophisticated domestic management institutions in medieval Europe. They maintained large numbers of people in close quarters year-round and developed highly systematic approaches to sanitation, odor control, and environmental hygiene that drew on both classical Roman knowledge and centuries of accumulated practical experience. Their records document the use of alkaline mineral compounds for deodorizing storage areas and living quarters, and the use of vinegar for cleaning and sanitizing surfaces in food preparation, dormitory, and chapel environments. In early American frontier homes, the combination of baking soda and vinegar for household odor control was practical common knowledge passed down through domestic tradition. Frontier homesteaders lived in environments where professional cleaning and odor control products did not exist, and where the ability to maintain a clean, fresh-smelling home depended entirely on understanding what natural materials accomplished these results most effectively. Baking soda and vinegar were standard supplies in every frontier kitchen, and their domestic applications, including odor control, were basic practical knowledge that every homesteading woman understood and applied as a matter of routine household management. Then the modern air freshener industry emerged in the mid-20th century, driven by the same post-war marketing explosion that transformed household cleaning, pest control, and personal care from practical self-reliant knowledge into branded product dependency. Plug in air fresheners, aerosol sprays, gel fresheners, scented candles, car air fresheners. Each new product format generated a new revenue stream built on the same fundamental premise. Cover the smell temporarily. Ensure the product runs out or the effect fades. Guarantee the customer comes back to buy another. The knowledge that 2 ingredients costing less than $1 combined permanently eliminated the source of musty odor rather than temporarily covering it was not a trade secret. It was simply never promoted because promoting it would have been commercially catastrophic for an industry built on repeat purchase. So here is exactly how you use baking soda and white vinegar to permanently eliminate every musty smell from your home and your car. For your home, begin by identifying the areas where musty smell is strongest. Typically carpets, upholstered furniture, basement areas, bathroom walls and ceilings, under-sink cabinet interiors, and any area with a history of moisture exposure. For carpets and upholstery, sprinkle a generous and even layer of dry baking soda directly onto the surface, enough to visibly coat the fibers but not so thick that it cannot be absorbed. Leave the baking soda on the surface for a minimum of 8 hours. Overnight is ideal, allowing it time to penetrate into the fibers and padding where odor compounds are absorbed and to react chemically with the acidic MVOC molecules present throughout the material. After the minimum contact time, vacuum the baking soda thoroughly from the surface. For the vinegar treatment, fill a standard spray bottle with undiluted white vinegar and spray the carpet or upholstery surface generously, making sure the vinegar penetrates into the fiber and reaches the padding beneath. Allow to air dry completely. The vinegar smell will dissipate completely as it dries, taking the musty smell with it. For walls, ceilings, and hard surfaces where musty smell originates from mold or mildew colonies inside or on the surface of the material, apply undiluted white vinegar directly with a spray bottle or sponge and allow it to penetrate the surface for at least 10 to 15 minutes before wiping away. For bathroom grout, tile, and caulk lines where mold colonies are visible, spray vinegar generously, allow to penetrate for 20 minutes, then scrub with a stiff brush. Follow with a baking soda paste applied to the same surface for additional odor neutralization and mild abrasive cleaning. For musty smell in enclosed spaces, closets, basement rooms, under-sink cabinets, garage interiors, place open containers of dry baking soda in the corners of the space and leave them undisturbed. The baking soda will continuously absorb and neutralize airborne MVOC molecules in the enclosed space, progressively eliminating the accumulated musty odor from the air. Replace the baking soda containers every 30 days. Simultaneously spray the walls, floor, and any porous surfaces in the enclosed space with white vinegar and allow to dry completely to kill the microbial colonies producing the ongoing odor. For musty smell in your car, the approach is the same but adapted to the specific environment. Sprinkle baking soda generously across all upholstered surfaces, seats, carpet, trunk lining, and leave overnight before vacuuming thoroughly. Spray all fabric surfaces with white vinegar from a spray bottle and allow the car to sit with windows slightly open to allow air drying. Place a small open container of baking soda under each front seat and in the trunk as a continuous odor absorber that addresses any ongoing microbial activity in the car's materials. For musty smell, coming from the car's air conditioning system, one of the most common sources of car interior musty odor, spray white vinegar directly into the air intake vent located at the base of the windshield on the exterior of the car while running the air conditioning on full recirculation. The vinegar will be drawn through the evaporator system where mold colonies typically establish themselves and kill the microbial source of the air conditioning odor permanently. Your grandmother's home did not smell musty, not because she burned candles or plugged in air fresheners or bought gel odor eliminators from a store. Because she understood what caused musty smell, she knew what actually eliminated it. and she kept baking soda and vinegar in her kitchen as basic household tools that addressed the source of every odor problem rather than covering it with a fragrance that needed replacing every 2 weeks. That knowledge did not disappear because it stopped working. Baking soda still neutralizes acidic odor molecules. Vinegar still kills mold and bacteria. The chemistry has not changed. The biology has not changed. The musty smell in your home and car is caused by the exact same microbial compounds it has always been caused by, and it responds to the exact same natural chemistry it has always responded to. The only thing that changed is whether you were told about it. Now you have been told. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video with everyone you know who has been burning through air fresheners and candles without ever actually solving the musty smell problem, and stay with me, because what is coming in the next video goes even deeper into what they buried.